Meghan Markle has introduced a 2023 rosé from Napa Valley under her rebranded lifestyle label as ever, a move that officially marks her entry into the alcohol industry. But this isn't just another product drop.
It was supposed to be her triumphant return. A sophisticated power move wrapped in a wine bottle, dressed in muted blush tones and soft-focused photography. Meghan Markle's Arling Arsène Rose from Napa Valley released under her rebranded lifestyle label. As ever, was pitched as more than just a drink. It was meant to be a statement, a pivot. The moment she'd finally step into her Gwyneth Paltrow era, carving out a slice of the luxury lifestyle pie. But instead of toasting success, Meghan is choking on the backlash.
Lasting deals that fizzled to branding pivots that confused even loyal followers. American Riviera Orchard came and went without clarity, and now, as ever, appears to be the latest attempt to stake a claim in the oversaturated lifestyle market.
And if you're tired of PR illusions, overpriced branding, and media manipulation, subscribe now. We uncover the truth behind the label land. This one's dripping in irony. The idea seemed solid on paper. After failed ventures with Spotify and the slow fade of her Netflix presence, Meghan needed a fresh play. Enter Rose. It's pink, it's pretty, it photographs well. And in the influencer economy, that's half the battle won. Her team curated the perfect fantasy. Meghan, barefoot in a sun-drenched vineyard, sipping wine with a soft smile, captured like she was born in the bottle rather than the spotlight. Aimed directly at the aspirational market, the women who still believe in the modern Duchess myth. But here's the thing about fantasies. They fall apart the second reality takes a sip. That reality came fast. And hard. In the form of Jon Stewart. During a Daily Show segment satirizing celebrity-endorsed products, Stewart took one look at as ever and didn't even flinch. He took a sip, paused, raised an eyebrow, and dropped the line that would go viral in under 60 seconds. "I've had tap water with more character." The crowd lost it. The internet lit up. But Meghan's brand went up in flames. This wasn't just a roast, it was an execution, and Stewart didn't stop there. With that signature dry wit, he followed it up with the now iconic jab. Tastes like branding, not grapes. Oof. You could hear the sound of PR strategies combusting from Montecito to Manhattan. Because while a lot of celebrity products fly under the radar, as ever had one fatal flaw: wasn't just mediocre, it was arrogant. It assumed people would pay for the bottle because Meghan was attached. But the public has wised up. The shine is gone, the fairy tale is fading, and it didn't help that Meghan, in all her tone-deaf glory, chose July 1st as the launch date, Princess Diana's birthday. Let that sink in. While Prince Harry reportedly spent the day quietly remembering his late mother, Meghan rolled out a luxury alcohol brand. Some said it was coincidental. Others, especially those close to the royal family, called it cruel. A twisted form of emotional branding, as if Diana's memory could be repackaged into a marketing hook. A source close to the royal household reportedly told one journalist, "It's not lost on William, and you can bet it's not lost on the rest of the world either." This wasn't a misstep, it was a PRF*CKOP of royal proportions. But the pain didn't stop at Stewart's punchlines. The wine world itself joined the BEATDOWN.wine spectator, not exactly known for tabloids or drama, called as ever uninspired and flat. A sommelier reviewing it described the flavor as forgettable, watery and shallow, ironically echoing how many critics describe Meghan's public image. Another wine reviewer wrote, "It's a lifestyle product disguised as a wine. You're not paying for flavor, you're paying for Meghan's face on the press release." And here's where things get even messier. When a celebrity launches a brand, their friends usually show up. Instagram stories, influencer endorsements, congratulatory tweets, but this time crickets. No Serena Williams, no Oprah, no Ellen, no Priyanka Chopra. The silence was deafening in. It wasn't an accident. According to leaked industry gossip, several insiders close to Meghan's circle were given early access to as ever, and the early tastings were not good. Some even refused to endorse it after internal reviews labeled the wine underwhelming at best. Suddenly, the curated vineyard shoot felt staged. The barefoot sunset imagery felt contrived. And Meghan's entire pitch, feminine complexity, emotional elegance, felt like a parody of itself. Online, the backlash exploded. Platforms like TikTok, Reddit, X, and Twitter were flooded with reviews. One viral post read, "This tastes like regret and PR strategy." Another simply said, "We were sold a fairy tale and got overpriced juice." It wasn't just a flop, It was a public awakening. Wine. Retailers began pulling the product from shelves. Distributors reportedly canceled upcoming orders. One boutique West Coast vendor said, "Customers come in asking for Jon Stewart's grape water just to laugh. That's not good for business." And in the middle of it all, Meghan's brand, once wrapped in royal silk and media sympathy, was unraveling thread by thread. This wine wasn't just wine, it was her latest rebrand attempt. Her move from Duchess to lifestyle queen, from royal exile to luxury influencer, and with just a few jokes, Stewart made that entire strategy look laughable. But it gets even darker. When the PR disaster hit full force, Meghan's team did what they always do: damage control disguised as empowerment. Carefully placed articles started surfacing, praising her bravery for entering the male-dominated wine industry. They tried to spin the backlash as misogyny, as if bad reviews and Jon Stewart's jokes were somehow attacks on all women, but audiences weren't buying it. Not anymore. A media analyst put it best: "This isn't about gender. This is about overexposure. Meeting under delivery." And that's the problem. Meghan's entire brand post-royalty has been built on controlled image, curated stories, and just enough victimhood to maintain public sympathy. But when the product falls flat, when the mask slips and what's behind it isn't inspiring, or bold, or deep but bland, vague and hollow, people wake up they did. The backlash began to snowball. Articles titled "The Wine with No Soul" and "As Ever" or "As Empty" began making the rounds. What was once a powerful narrative of a woman silenced by the monarchy, reclaiming her voice through business, now looked like a hollow grift. What's worse, even her most loyal defenders stayed quiet. Oprah, the woman who gave Meghan and Harry the platform for their explosive interview, didn't post a single word. Neither did Ellen nor Priyanka. Not even Tyler Perry, the man who gave them shelter during their royal exit. The silence was thunderous and telling. In a business built on buzz, silence from your inner circle speaks louder than hate from your critics. Industry insiders confirmed that Meghan expected endorsements. She counted on them. But after the wine was quietly passed around at private events, many of those once loyal allies chose not to say a word, not out of malice, but out of discomfort, because even they knew it was bad. One former Hollywood publicist reportedly told a journalist, "You can only sell the dream so many times before people want to wake up." And then there was the timing. Let's go back to that. July 1st, Diana's birthday. The woman Meghan has so often compared herself to. The icon whose name she's used directly and indirectly to frame herself as the next chapter in royal compassion. It wasn't just insensitive, it was strategic. That's what stung. And for Harry, the reports weren't flattering. One source, close to the Sussex Circle, said Harry wasn't thrilled about the date but didn't push back. Another said he was still dealing with his own grief, as he does every year on that date. And while Meghan celebrated her launch with styled photo shoots and champagne glasses, Harry reportedly spent the evening in a far more reflective, quiet state. This wine wasn't supposed to be controversial. It was supposed to be aspirational, sophisticated, feminine. But instead of launching Meghan into a new era of lifestyle influence, it exposed her strategy for what it really is: selling illusions. One marketing strategist said it plainly: she's trying to sell vulnerability and elegance wrapped in a bottle. But people aren't buying the act anymore. That's the thing. You can dress up a product, stage a photo shoot, slap on a poetic-sounding label and vague words like sun-drenched flavor and feminine complexity. But if the product has no heart, people feel it. And when the curtain dropped, what people saw wasn't elegance. It was desperation. Even the design of the bottle came under fire. Critics mocked its soft beige tone and generic script as Pinterest-level branding. There was no edge, no statement, just something that looked nice on an Instagram grid for about 30 seconds, and then came the final blow. The numbers, according to insiders, As Ever saw weak pre-orders and even weaker post-launch numbers. Several retailers pulled promotional displays within days of the Jon Stewart segment airing. One wine wholesaler anonymously told a major outlet, "We had to cut our losses. No one wants to stock a punchline." The ripple effects were immediate. Orders dropped, interest dried up. What was supposed to be a long-term brand multiple, vintage's expansion into lifestyle accessories, events, was suddenly in limbo. One person familiar with the launch said, "They're now just trying to salvage face. The rest, it's already dead." But perhaps the most devastating truth came from the cultural critics. They saw what others didn't. They saw the symbolism. One wrote, "This wine isn't just flat. It's a metaphor for Meghan's brand, well lit, emotionally positioned, but ultimately lacking substance." And that's what's really happening here. This isn't just a wine failing, it's a brand crumbling. Meghan Markle has spent years building an empire on carefully curated trauma, brand storytelling, and Duchess-adjacent prestige. But without the crown, without Oprah-level hype, without the world's sympathy, it falls apart. So now we're left with a question. What happens when your last card gets played on? The world calls your bluff. The wine was supposed to be her reset button, a fresh chapter, and the timing couldn't be worse. Because this wine flop isn't an isolated incident. It's just the latest addition to a pattern. A pattern of overhyped launches, underwhelming delivery, and media overkill that's worn the public thin. Let's look at the record. Spotify gave her and Harry $20 million and dropped them with a brutal statement, calling them grifters. The Archetypes podcast was supposed to be a cultural milestone. It fizzled after one season. Then came the Netflix docu, a few dramatic headlines, a wave of sympathy, and then even Netflix has reportedly scaled back further collaborations with the Sussex brand. What's left? A rose that became a meme. A lifestyle brand that was supposed to be her goop moment but landed like a limp handshake. And now, a growing realization across the media and public that Meghan Markle isn't the voice of truth, resilience, or modern royalty. She's just another influencer and designer. Because it wasn't just a dig at a bad wine. It was a public unmasking. Stewart with one line, tastes like branding, not grapes. Cut through years of PR spin. He said what millions were thinking, and what most of Hollywood was too scared to admit, that Meghan's empire isn't built on it, turned into content and audiences. They're done. You can feel it in the tone of the coverage. You can see it in the comments. People are no longer afraid to call it what it is. A grift, dressed in Duchess lace. A pretty face pushing hollow ideas. A marketing machine that can't keep up with its own mythology. Even the As Ever name, meant to evoke timeless elegance and quiet strength, now sounds like a cruel joke. As ever. Flat. As ever. Hollow. As ever. Forgettable. And here's the final irony. Meghan built this brand, this entire post-royal identity, on the back of being silenced. Of being shut down, ignored, bullied by the institution, the product, the narrative, the moment. It's all hers. And she still can't deliver. Because when the packaging peels off, what's inside just doesn't hold up. The real tragedy, Meghan could have built something lasting. She could have pivoted with grace. She had the attention of the world. But instead of building something with heart, she chose to build another illusion, and the world has seen enough illusions. So what now? Does she double down? Play the victim again? Blame the media, misogyny, racism, whatever fits the narrative? Or does she finally stop, reflect, and admit that maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't the public, and as ever was the loudest kind of noise, empty, echoing, and short-lived? If there's one lesson to learn from this mess, it's this. The public is done applauding surface. They're craving substance. And when you sell illusion, comedy becomes your worst enemy. Jon Stewart didn't just sip the wine, he shattered the mirror, and Meghan, she's still sweeping up the pieces. So what's the takeaway? Stay skeptical. Don't buy the product just because the label is familiar. Follow the pattern. And most importantly, stop rewarding mediocrity dressed in Duchess cosplay. And if you're someone who's tired of curated stories, tired of watching influencers sell you a fantasy while calling it empowerment, then this is the place for you. Subscribe now for brutally honest breakdowns, cultural deep, and start calling it what it is. Because when the wine turns bitter and the branding fades, only the truth remains. And in Meghan Markle's case,